Hello and welcome to another episode of NewsX DeepDive with me, Uday Pratap Singh. Today we are turning our attention to the Indian Railways revised fare structures that come into effect from today. The policy change impacts millions of passengers nationwide. So let's unpack what's changed, why it matters and how it impacts you. The Ministry of Railways has implemented a fare rationalization or a fare revision aimed at balancing between the twin objectives of affordability for passengers as well as financial sustainability for the Indian Railways. This marks the second fare hike in less than 6 months, with the last change taking effect from the 1st of July 2025. While there will be no impact on existing bookings, even for travel dates in future, those booking tickets on or after the 26th of December 2025 will be subject to price revisions where applicable. It's important to note that the revised fee structure will not affect fares for suburban services. Neither will it impact season tickets for both suburban and non-suburban areas. This has been done so that short-distance commuters are shielded from the increase. Second-class journeys up to 215 kilometers will not be affected at all. Other services, however, will be impacted. So what exactly are the changes that have been put into place? Well, let's take a detailed look at the new passenger fare structure, as train travel remains the most affordable option compared to road and air journeys. Firstly, for long-distance journeys, fares have been increased, ranging from 5 rupees to 20 rupees based on the distance. For distances between 216 to 750 kilometers, the fare has been increased by 5 rupees. Distances between 751 to 1250 kilometers have seen an increase by 10 rupees. For journeys between 1251 to 1750 kilometers, the fare has been increased by 15 rupees. Meanwhile, distances of 1751 to 2250 kilometers will see a fare increase of 20 rupees. This graded slab system seeks to apply increases progressively, so the financial hit is not uniform but relative to distance. A 1 paise per kilometer increase has been put into place for sleeper class ordinary and first class ordinary tickets. The 1 paise increase is uniform and minimal for ordinary sleeper and first class non-suburban journeys. For the wider category of mail and express trains, including AC and non-AC, fares have been nudged upwards by 2 paise per kilometer across all classes, such as sleeper, first class, air, AC chair car and all tiers of AC travel. To put that into perspective, a 500 kilometer journey will cost you about 10 rupees more than before. So what hasn't changed? Well, it's important to keep in mind that the following remain unchanged. Reservation charges stay the same as before. Superfast surcharges will also continue without revision. GST and ancillary charges will be levied according to existing rules. The fare rounding policies haven't changed either and will continue as before. This rationalization isn't limited to standard trains, but it also applies to all major train services, including Tejas, Rajdhani, Rajdhani Shatabdi, Duronto, Vande Bharat, Humsafar, Amrit Bharat, Tejas, Mahamana, Gatiman, Antyodaya, Garib Rath, Jan Shatabdi, Yuva Express and Namo Bharat Rapid Rail, the railways have said. So how will this impact passengers? Well, if we take a look at some of the most commonly traveled routes across the country, such as Mumbai to Howrah via Nagpur, Jharsuguda, Delhi to Chennai via Jhansi, Bhopal, Delhi to Mumbai via Kota, Ratlam and Delhi to Kolkata, we see how fares have increased by an estimated value of 30 rupees to 45 rupees. For example, according to estimates, the Mumbai to Howrah route is amongst India's busiest railway terminals, handling around 13 to 16 million passengers per year. While a sleeper class ticket cost around 540 rupees, it will now cost 570 rupees, an increase of 30 rupees. An AC 2-tier ticket will now cost 2330 rupees as opposed to the earlier cost of 2300 rupees. The highest increase amongst these routes is along the Delhi to Chennai route, which will see a 45 rupees increase in prices, with a sleeper class ticket costing 805 rupees over the 760 rupees earlier. An AC 3-tier ticket from Delhi to Chennai will see an increase of from 2145 rupees to 2100 rupees. The change does not change the fact that the Indian Railways offer some of the world's cheapest train tickets, significantly lower than neighboring countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and vastly cheaper than European nations as well. Due to massive government subsidies ranging from 45 to 50%, fares are kept lower for social welfare, making even AC travel a fraction of costs in developed nations. Even post-fare revision, a journey of 350 kilometers will on an average cost around 45 to 600 rupees. In contrast, a similar journey will cost roughly 1200 rupees to 1800 rupees in China, around 6000 rupees in Japan and anywhere between 3000 to 6000 rupees in the UK. If we take a look at the change in railway prices over the past 10 years, we see that there have been only 2 nationwide passenger fare hikes between 2015 and 2025. There were no hikes between 2014 and 2019, with a hike of 8 rupees for a distance of 300 to 350 kilometers in 2020. The fares were once again frozen during the COVID years before 2 modest hikes in 2025 broke a long freeze. Suburban and short distance fares, of course, remain unchanged. This means that over the past decade, there has been a 12 to 13% increase in fare prices. So if you're a daily commuter, your local and short distance travel costs stay the same, and monthly season tickets also remain unaffected as well. If you travel long distance occasionally, expect slightly higher ticket prices but relatively modest hikes. The bottom line, Indian Railways' revised fare structure represents a calibrated policy shift, maintaining affordability for core commuters while modestly boosting revenues to support operations and future investments. Joining us live is Dr. Sudhanshu Mani, General Manager, Indian Railways. Dr. Mani, as far as, of course, this new hike is concerned, how do you view it, and was it necessary?
Okay, so the finances of railways are in dire straits. The operating ratio is deliberately kept below 100 by playing with the pension funds and so on. So there is a need to boost revenue. What has happened is something which is rather inexplicable. First, a fare hike in July, hardly 6 months back. And that time the claim was that railways would mop up, I think, around 1,500 crores, whereas analysis showed that it would only fetch you around 600, 700 crores, which is less than 1% of the revenue projected for the year, which is around 90,000 crores. So it was neither here and nor there. Once again, although the news item says that it will help get 2,400 crores per year or 600 crores in the balance part of the year, my analysis shows that it will not be in that range, because just now you were telling the viewers, the passenger, the increase in passenger fares in various classes. If you break it up and analyze, I don't see how 2,400 crores can be obtained from this. It would be more like around 1,000 crores at the maximum. So this shows two things. What was done in July was perhaps born out of incomplete exercise. And what is done now is to perhaps make it up, but still it is far short of an increase in fare which would fetch you substantial revenue to bridge the gap. To give you a picture, the freight revenue is in the range of 1,80,90,000 crores, and the passenger revenue is 90,000 crores projected this year. And sundries and other coaching earnings around 20,000 crores. So what I'm not able to understand, when the government is ready to bite the bullet and take a measure which can be called politically bold, but it is fiscally so underwhelming that it defeats the very purpose. If you are ready to actually go for this passenger hike, which has been due for a long time, passenger fare hike, then at least 5% more revenue would have helped, something like 4,000, 5,000 crores. So these hikes, to my mind, although they would, governments will face brickbats, but at the same time, they don't fetch you anything substantial enough. So I would not say that this is an exercise which is of any value.
At the end of the day, of course, what are fare hikes used to fund? If you can help decode for our viewers, Dr. Mani. And at the end of the day, how does government balance, of course, affordability while also having to increase the fares to fund transformation, maintenance, and other increased costs. At the end of the day, as we were just recounting for our viewers, in the last, I think, over a decade, there have been marginal fare hikes. So marginal increase for passengers.
Yes, I agree. It has not even kept pace with inflation. What happened was, when Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav was rail minister, that time there was a big jump in freight revenue. And he could actually get away by not increasing the passenger fares. Subsequently, no minister, whichever be the government, has had the, if I can say, boldness to actually increase the passenger fares. And that is why in every ticket it is printed that railways get only 55% from this ticket, meets the expenditure only to the extent of 55%, and rest is from its other revenue. As far as transformation is concerned, all the capex of railways, practically nothing is generated by railways. It's all budgetary support from Government of India. This is only to make sure that the revenue itself does not cross the expenditure and the operating ratio remains below 100. Such hikes are necessary for transformation, for capex, for all development. Railway does not generate any fund anymore. It's all from the budgetary support of Government of India.
All right, but what are these, funds used for? I was asking you, the increased funds. What are they normally used for? Why do such fare hikes become necessary?
It's necessary because your expenditure is going up. In revenue, I'm only talking of revenue.
Yes.
So your expenditure is going up and you have to get more revenue to balance at least the operating ratio. We're not talking of development at all. That is met, as I said, by the general budgetary support from Government of India. So expenditure is going up, and unless there is a fare hike or increased earning from freight, which is also not happening, and that's going up by a abysmal 2-3%. So some fare hike is inevitable. Otherwise, your revenue would be lower than the expenditure.
Absolutely. However, despite, of course, the hike, rail travel does remain the most affordable mode of transport across the country. Thank you very much, Sudhanshu Mani, for joining us with your perspective on this segment.